Alright, hello everybody. Today I want to air out some dirty laundry, some grievances out there to the world about people who just keep calling other people narcissists. So let's unpack it. It's frustrating that something so good as demystifying narcissism can backfire, and here's why. It's important to assess the people in your life, to know them for who they are, not to be blindly optimistic or overly forgiving. And if you see somebody that has these narcissistic tendencies or that has a lot of the red flags, should I say, for that, good on you. You can steer clear, you can fix your life for yourself. But the thing about calling other people narcissists is that, first of all, it's not a psychological term. Narcissism is not a psychological condition, but it does refer to typically cluster B personality disorders. So, first of all, one should know at least that much before they start talking. And second, these are very complex personality disorders that not just about anybody has. And it's like it becomes a lack of vocabulary where what happened to calling other people selfish or jerks? Or what about calling them mean or bullies? Or does that not cut it? Do we need to have an authority on their motives and on, because you're basically saying that somebody is a sociopath, that somebody on a daily basis instrumentalizes other people, doesn't see them really as people, but rather as ends to a mean. And there are degrees of that. And the narcissist is just all the way there at the end of the spectrum where they really don't care. They really have little to no sympathy. They might have empathy as a way to ape the empathy that you and I might feel. So it's kind of interesting because it's super positive that people are getting into psychology, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily make them an authority. Psychopop is bigger than ever, and it's like you need that humbleness to admit that you might have some clues to this or that. But even the professionals like psychologists, they go through their degrees, their thorough education, and still at the end of it, they are living with a certain level of uncertainty regarding human nature and a certain level of assumptions. Because when you get into social sciences, society evolves. So one example is like this content creation, right? It can be deemed as quite vain, and I'm not going to dispute that. There is some of that. And it's healthy to admit that there is vanity there and not just to be in denial. No, like I'm the most humble person in the room. That might not be the case. But it brings us back to the myth of Narcissus. I'll call him in French because I'm always confused. Narcisse, who saw his reflection in the water and found himself so beautiful. He said, "Who are you?" And the nymph echo from under the water repeated, "Who are you?" And then she eventually took him by the neck and drowned him. So first of all, a lot of people forget about Echo and this myth. Second, it's just a myth. It's just a tool to understand reality, like a metaphor. And third, I think we've moved past the point where this word is so attached to vanity. It's a metaphorical vanity. It's a vanity of screwing people over and not caring. So that's quite different from taking a selfie or trying to rely on your looks for your self-esteem. There is a correlation, but I find it very faint in the grand scheme of things. For example, a narcissist, you're not supposed to call a narcissist out. If you do, they will either double down on the oppression or cut you out of their life. So having narcissistic tendencies might be a more appropriate way to say it. And then even so, this is still playing, I'm going to use psychology to judge and box you in. And so I think we just need to be very patient with each other and accept that we're all flawed human beings and that nobody needs to have this kind of Machiavellian, well, some people are Machiavellian and some people do gaslight. But again, gaslighting is a gradation. I'm a teen of the 90s. We used sarcasm a lot. What about somebody who has a harder time understanding sarcasm? Maybe they're going to feel left out. Maybe that's going to make them bitter and angry. Maybe they're going to feel gaslit more easily than your average person. But this is the problem. The whole point of this is that this is not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about entry-level gaslighting. We're talking about conspiring against someone long-term, and it can be difficult to assess if somebody is subconsciously, we all have a dark side. Is our dark side in check? Some people more than others, they will know that everything that they do that is good is just they need a picture taken, or else they just will not help a homeless person on the street, or they will not do any philanthropy if the cameras aren't around. I think this is a sign of narcissism, and we're getting more there to unpack it. But again, it would be nice if we could expand of our vocabulary about what we don't like about each other and be able to say it respectfully and calmly, and where people's boundaries really are respected. So actually, maybe not as much of a rant as I was hoping. I'm going to work on that. All right, peace out.